My wife spent 9 months saying the baby wasn't mine, so I believed her. My wife Jessica started her little joke the day she found out she was pregnant. She'd pat her stomach and say, "Hope the baby has Doug's eyes instead of yours." Doug was her coworker who she carpooled with sometimes. She'd laugh and say she was kidding, but then she'd do it again an hour later. At first, I tried to laugh along because pregnancy hormones make people say weird things, but Jessica never stopped. Every single day, she'd make at least 5 comments about the baby not being mine. When we went to the first ultrasound, she told the technician, "Wow, it looks just like my friend Doug already." The technician looked confused, and Jessica laughed, saying she was joking, but then whispered loud enough for everyone to hear that the baby had Doug's nose for sure. When we told her parents about the pregnancy, Jessica said, "We're having a baby." "Well, I am anyway. Who knows who the father is?" Her mother looked horrified, and Jessica said, "Relax, Mom, I'm kidding," but then winked at her dad like it was their inside joke. At the baby shower, Jessica gave a speech thanking everyone for coming, then said she wanted to especially thank Doug for all his contributions to this blessing. People shifted uncomfortably, and she said what I mean, his emotional support during the conception period. I mean pregnancy period. Oops, did I say conception? The room was dead silent, and Jessica laughed, saying everyone was too sensitive these days. She did this everywhere we went. At the grocery store, she'd tell random strangers that I was raising another man's baby, but I didn't know it yet. At prenatal classes, she'd introduce me as her husband who thinks he's the father. At work events, she'd joke about how the baby was going to have features that definitely didn't come from my gene pool. When I confronted her about it, she'd cry and say I was being controlling and couldn't take a joke. She'd say she was dealing with pregnancy stress through humor, and I was making everything worse by being so insecure. Then 5 minutes later, she'd text her sister about how the baby was moving, just like Doug moves when he's excited. I asked her directly if she'd been unfaithful, and she got angry, saying how dare I accuse her of cheating when she was carrying our child. But then at dinner, she'd say things like, "Technically it's my child, you're just assuming you're involved." My friends started asking if everything was okay. My brother pulled me aside and said Jessica's behavior wasn't normal. My mother straight up asked if I needed a paternity test, but Jessica would tell everyone I was being paranoid and jealous and that she'd never been with anyone else. Then she'd immediately make another joke about Doug being the real father. The breaking point came in the delivery room. Jessica was in labor for 12 hours, and the whole time she kept saying she wanted Doug there to meet his baby. The nurses kept looking at me with pity. When it was time to push, Jessica screamed that she needed to tell me something important. She grabbed my hand and said, "The baby really isn't yours. I need you to know that before it's born." I stood up and said, "Okay, then I'm leaving." Jessica